You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 709 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and the Murdoch Method. On the show today, we talk about getting ready for the upcoming show season with Tony Sandoval. Wendy from the Murdoch Method will introduce us to her new project, thewholerider.com. Anna Buffini will recap her season qualifying for the World Cup final, and returning with a trainer tip is Codi Harrison.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Loxahatchee, Florida.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil.
Hey,
I
Reese.
feel like I just saw you.
Well, you literally did just, yeah.
I did. Yes, so literally 2 nights ago.
Yeah,
2 nights ago. Phil's been in Florida. Phil, how was the old sunburn? Because we learned a life lesson, didn't we?
No, we didn't. It's the same life lesson that I've learned many times before on vacation. I'm, very very northern and very pale, and it doesn't take long to get a sunburn, and I got one on my leg, and Reese pointed it out, and
poked at it, pointed it out, all the things.
Yeah. That was very kind.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Well, so Philip came to Florida and his wife Meredith, who's the best. And actually my husband came to visit as well. So we had like a normal Saturday. We all got together and we went down to your hotel. You're staying down by the water, and lots of drinks were had and fun was had and lots of laughing. And Phil got sunburned by not spray tan, or spray sunscreen. Don't use that, Phil. You need real sunscreen. So we were teasing Phil, but we had a great time. It was so fun. We did talk about horses for sure, but it was fun for me to get away from Wellington. And I think you guys had a big time, and my husband also. So it was a really fun Saturday night. We had a great time. So I know. So you just got back, and we're recording early because I'm actually heading back to Kentucky.
You're packing up the circus.
I'm packing up the circus. And so we had to record Phil got back, I think last night. We're recording tonight, and then I leave on Friday. The horses leave. So, which it's different to pack up the circus when your home just leaves. It's kind of nice. Like when you have the camper, everything just goes in the camper. It's kind of delightful. I don't have to really move anything. It's so cool. So that's been kind of fun, is that I don't have to worry too much because the camper just sort of moves, which is nice. So
did you hire a company that?
Yeah, I do. I have I have a nice lady that brings it back and forth for me because I have my horse trailer. So and I only have one truck. So there's some logistics. So everybody has asked me about the camper life. I like it, Phil. I've decided I like it. I'm right here with the horses, and I have my dog. I can tell you, if my husband were here, it wouldn't have worked at all. But
you had a couple of complaints about your about trailer life, or however you want.
But he's not used to it, so I think the first week I also had some bruises. Like he bumped his head. I bumped my head last night too. Actually, I was in by myself and I wasn't paying attention. So you do learn, how to navigate the trailer a little bit, little camper life. But I do like it, and it'll be nice. Like I just pack up my office, and it'll be able to go home, and so that's been good. And then the horses actually, we put the horses on the truck, on the shipper. They do a great job. I used to bring them back and forth, and sometimes I still will, but it's a long drive. It's 1,000 miles, and a lot of people do it. I just have enough horses now going north that sort of makes sense that they head north, and my amazing Kentucky team grabs them, and then the horses can kind of rest for a day or two, and I close up the barn here, and then head north. We're going to have a great discussion with Tony, talking about maintaining for the whole season. And it is a little bit different when you're here. It's so intense. So there is a little bit of a transition phase back for me into, I have a farm again. I manage a farm and I also, I'm a wife and I have a house and cooking and cleaning. And so for me, it's a definite transition back, which is good. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, but it's also a thing. So we're going to be transitioning back. And I have learned that it takes a good week. We have to start packing sort of a week early, and then we're pretty efficient at it, especially it's easier when everything just goes in the trunks. When you're packing to come down, it's a little bit more complicated, but when you're packing to leave, literally everything gets put in the trunks. But I like everything to be clean before it's put in the trunks. So that is a thing for sure. So we just start cleaning brushes this time in the week and just getting organized, which is good. So should be a good transition back home. And I'm excited because Kentucky's so pretty this time of year. It's always fun to see the green grass and the fold.
And the blossoms. The
blossoms. And you usually come down to visit us in April. So I got a great camper for you, Phil. You've got a house to stay in.
All right.
You'll like it.
All right. I might have to check out the camper life. Yeah. That sounds good.
I love it. Well, Phil, we have a super show. I'm pumped for this whole show. So we're going to get started. We're going to have a quick break from Kentucky Performance Products and come back with Tony Sandoval.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
Did you know that easy keepers and horses on restricted diets are often at risk for vitamin and mineral deficiencies? Most easy keepers are maintained on hay, and some get a few handfuls of grain a day, and most of these horses get little to no green grass. Diets that don't include significant levels of green grass or recommended amounts of fortified concentrates just don't supply enough vitamins and minerals. Many horse folks don't realize that hay alone, even high-quality green hay, is not an adequate source of many vitamins. For example, when grass is cut and dried for hay, the vitamins quickly lose their potency. 70% of the vitamin E found in grass is lost in the first week after it is cut for hay. One way to ensure that your special needs horse is getting all the vitamins and minerals he needs is to add a vitamin and mineral supplement to his diet. A well-balanced supplement will provide the nutrients your horse requires without adding unwanted calories, starches, and sugars. Microphase, made by Kentucky Performance Products, is a vitamin and trace mineral supplement that bridges the gap in your feeding program. With Microphase, your horse receives adequate and balanced vitamin and mineral nutrition without unwanted calories or other ingredients. The minerals in Microphase have been chelated, a process that protects minerals during digestion and increases their absorption in the intestine. Microphase provides vitamins, such as vitamin E, in a natural form, so your horse receives optimal results from this supplement.
This Nutritional Minute has been brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. You can find all of their terrific products at kppusa.com.
Tonight, we are so excited to have back, by popular demand, and because I also need him, Tony Sandoval, coach and trainer. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing well, Reese. I miss you.
I miss you too. I wanted to say workout guy for the stars, just for myself, just to boost myself. But
That's
then I was like, maybe I should say that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I know I miss you, Tony. I actually haven't seen Tony. Well, you came to visit us in February, and I miss Tony. And I literally texted him, we're home next week. And I was like, Tony, I need to be on your schedule because I'm a hot mess.
Already there.
So, yeah, I miss you. And but Tony, you've got a great. We were just doing it before the show, talking about what you're going to talk about today, and this is such a great topic. And I'm saying that also for myself, so I'm looking forward to the topic. So why don't you intro for us what you're talking about tonight?
Yeah, so I think we should call this topic "In It to Win It" for the long haul, right?
Love it.
So it's all about strategies on how you can make this season end as strong as you start.
Or perhaps even stronger. Yeah. How about even stronger?
Or perhaps, Now we're getting in the spirit of this.
Now we're talking.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I've noticed throughout the years of working with riders is towards the end, people are exhausted mentally, physically. Life gets in the way. It starts to get into fall. It gets colder. And I think that having a strategy to be able to say, okay, well, here are some things that I am going to do to make sure that every single show that I'm at, I'm giving it not just a perceived 100%, but there's actually some actionable things that you've done to give you confidence that you're out there at your tip top. So does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful concept. I know that feeling of being a little bit halfway through the season and not recovering as well, and being a little bit, physically and mentally a bit tired, and just you kind of have that feeling like, oh, maybe I should just pack it in, or that kind of thing. So tell us how not to get there.
So here's what we're going to do is step one is always to take a little bit of inventory and make sure that you write down how you currently feel. Because as the months go on, that feeling will start to deteriorate, but it's always good to have a baseline marker. I feel good in the morning. I have energy throughout my lessons. I am doing active things to make sure that I am getting better at whatever skill I'm trying to work. And what you'll notice is if you write things down, come later part of the summertime when things start to, have a toll on your body, the journal will look different. And that just gives you a little bit of an insight to go, okay, I need to get back to where I was at the very beginning. So having a little bit of insight through some journaling is definitely the first thing you should do. Just take an inventory of how you currently feel. Now, another totally, I think, important action that someone should take is to make sure that they take some time to move outside of what they currently do, say at the barn. So when I have online clients and they report to me, I'd have 20,000 steps throughout the day, especially if it's a long day at the barn or what have you. And that's great. And that's a good way for the body to actually recover. But to take it a step further is make sure that you have at least 20 to 30 minutes where you're just walking or doing something very low impact, where you're not working at something. So it's more of a recovery walk. And what the research has said is that when you have this recovery walk, we have this system in our body called the lymphatic system. And it's basically like the body's sewage line. And when you can get in some very low intensity dog walking, for example, activity, the blood starts moving and all of this lymphatic system throughout our body starts acquiring all the metabolic waste that our body has throughout the day. And when you start working through that system, it starts flushing out all the bad stuff, you pee it out, and then you start getting this recovery tool to help you. And it might not seem like a lot for like maybe a month, but when you're talking about the season, you have to have in mind this long game, the longevity part of a season. And every single little thing that you do is going to add up. And at the end, you're going to reap the benefits of taking this walk where it's not necessarily in your work day or in your barn day. It's just something to help you relax and to get the lymphatic system to work. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, I already kind of do that in, no stress kind of walk. I mean,
yes.
My Chihuahua doesn't walk very fast, so that's fine. I could just take it easy and we have a good time. So I'm already building that in.
That was going to be my question. Like, when I take Winnie, Tony knows my dog Winston, when Winnie needs to go for a good 30-minute walk during the day. So I think is that kind of like what you're talking about? Like, we're just kind of chilling. We're walking around. I'm throwing the ball, like playing around. That seems to be kind of a good time for that.
Yes. So see, we have to remember
active golden retriever dog.
That's the best modality is to walk a dog. Actually, that will be my career when I retire, is professional dog walker extraordinaire.
Right?
So, yeah. So, we are built to walk. We are built to move. And when we're living in a time where sitting is something that is for a lot of people in their day-to-day activity, and they could have a standing desk, they could just have a normal sitting down desk. But what that same research paper that I'm referring to, what they have figured out is whether you're sitting or standing, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're moving. You're built to move, and when you start moving, it actually prepares you for this activity that we call riding or running or whatever you're doing, prepping your body by just being active and taking a couple minutes, maybe every other hour, just to stretch, just to do something that your body is moving is going to prepare you for the day where you have your lessons or shows, especially when it comes to stress reduction, which that's a good segue for my next little tip. And that is to make sure that you're building up your sleep reserve or building up your sleep hours. So we know that sleep is important for a lot of different reasons, but the main one is to recover your nervous system, your brain. When you are sleeping, you start to detoxify your brain, especially when you get into deep sleep. And if you're not hitting the 7 to 9 hour marker, that's fine. This is a good way for you to build your way up to it. So maybe it's like a 6-hour sleep night. Well, maybe it can be 6:15. Maybe it can be 6:30. And you build up time by taking your time and managing your day to include more sleep. Even if it's 15 minutes more, it's a process. And I think what gets people caught up is the goal is 7 to 9. Oh, that's so far away. There's no way I can do that consistently. And then they don't even attempt. But again, these 15 minutes a night throughout the week add up, throughout the month add up. And so that is still progress. And we don't want to get caught up in this game where we're comparing ourselves to other people, especially if you have a family, if you have, a business that takes a lot of your time. But having this goal is going to help you in the long run stay mentally in the game. Because as you compete more and the sleep doesn't change, so you're adding more stress to the body, but not a way to detoxify or to create that system that takes out all of the bad gunk in your brain and so that your brain is fresh again, you're going to pay the price. And that's when you start feeling less motivated. That's when you start going, oh man, maybe I can do this tomorrow. Or maybe I just hack today when you had something planned, but you didn't feel good. Now, that might be a good strategy, but you add up those days, and then now you're taking away less time for you to improve throughout the year. What do you guys think about that one?
No, I think that's so important. I have felt the need for more sleep as I've gotten older. I think now I really have to pay attention, especially like down here in Florida. I've been so busy and I've actually slept pretty well. I think it's because I'm really tired. At home, I think I think here I'm really tired. And so that has been really helpful in the sleep department. But I agree. Like I have had to be careful to say, no, I really need to give my body a little time to recover. I think that's been really important. And I think I have been better about that here in Florida because I don't have quite as many house chores and that kind of stuff to do. But I do think, for example, that's something I'm gonna have to take home with me and really kind of, it takes me a long time to wind down for the evening because I'm a night person. As Tony can tell you, I am not a morning person. I see him in the morning and he's like, do you want to come in at 7? I was like, no, I do not. I am not coming in at 7, but I can't because it takes me a little while to get going in the morning. And it's just, that's my schedule for sure. Now I'm there at 8. So it's not like 10:30, but it is hard for me, but the winding down process, I think also is something that, you kind of have to figure out your routine and how that works. So I'm with you on that. The extra sleep and making my self go to sleep has been a good idea for sure. So I get what you're putting down on that one.
I think a good example is to use what you have going on. And I think that we can resonate with that. When you're in another environment where there is less stress about being at your own barn, house chores, doing all the things that tax your brain, it is more difficult to turn off your thoughts. So the sleep becomes a little bit harder to get to. When you're in Florida, it's very simple. It's like a simple life. I work, I walk Winnie, I eat when I can, and I sleep. And it's not that you don't think about them, but they're not in front of you. You're in Florida, and so it's a lot easier. So that gives you some proof or a little bit of anecdotal evidence that if you can control thoughts, you will be able to get better sleep. And here's a trick that I recently have been doing and has been working for me, because I have a lot of projects going on, a lot of irons in the fire, and sometimes I get too excited to go to sleep. So what I've been doing is I set my Apple Watch, and it could be any timer, for 5 minutes. And what I do is work on this breathing cadence, because it helps my brain think about the cadence, because it's a little tough, but it also calms me down so that, I can fall asleep instantly because it's a long day. So I'm tired, but then I don't know if I get that good sleep. Now, I use something called an Oura Ring to track how much deep sleep I get. And when I don't get deep sleep, I feel it the next day. It's even though I got 7 to 9 hours, I just didn't get that deep sleep because I could tell my brain was thinking of something. Even my heart rate is elevated when I sleep. So this is what I've been doing. I've been setting my Apple Watch or my phone for a 5-minute timer, and I do a 4-second inhale, a 2-second hold, an 8-second exhale. Now, if through the 8 seconds you breathe out in 3 seconds and you're wondering, how can I breathe out for 8 seconds? That is a feedback mechanism for you to say, I'm too wound up. I'm still so stressed out. And what I mean by stress is you're thinking of something is taxing your brain. So we would call that stress, that I can't even slow down my exhale. So that's fine. Maybe when you first start, it's kind of difficult, but by the time you hit the end of the 5 minutes, you're figuring out the rhythm of how you can inhale for 4 seconds, big, deep breath, hold, breathe out. And it's like, oh yeah, look, I'm breathing out for 8 seconds. And then you hold for 2 seconds. And then you repeat that cycle over and over. And again, the goal is for you to take those 8 seconds and to really breathe out all through those 8 seconds and work on it. I guarantee you, by the time your 5 minutes are done, if you're really thinking about the breath, this is going to work. Now, my brain does go and start thinking about what I have to do tomorrow, but I quickly try to bring it back to the 8-second count. Because the 8-second count, it does wonders to bring your attention to it, because it is difficult for some people. There's no way you can think about what you have to pick up at the grocery store and exhale for 8 seconds. It's very difficult. Now, if it gets easy for you, yes, your brain will start thinking about other things, but then you go, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be thinking of the 8-second exhale. And you'll be surprised. Practice it and give it a few days. Give it like 5 days. And you'll start waking up and feeling a little bit more refreshed, because you're probably getting into some better deep sleep.
That's a really nice, kind of meditation exercise and practice.
Yeah, some people like to do some type of yoga, some stretching. For me, that just reminds me, oh, this is what I should be doing with clients. Oh, this is what I should be doing with this client. That person would benefit from this stretch. Mm-hmm. It doesn't calm me down, because my brain is always thinking, how can I get people better? But when I just practice on my breathing, I don't think about that. I just think about calming down and getting to sleep. And so that would be another great tool. Again, long game. Think October, think November, how you're going to feel from just being a little bit more, I would say, active with your own brain recovery.
Yeah, I love it. Tony, as always, this is amazing. This was also good for me and good for my friends and fellow colleagues that are coming north from Florida, because we have to reset a little bit and get ready for sort of the kind of the Kentucky or the northern season, because there's definitely a season here and it's winding down, and then we're going to come home and there's a new season. So this was really, really helpful. Thank you so much. So Tony, how can our listeners find you online if they have any questions?
They can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Coach Sando Training, or you can email me any questions that you may have at Tony at CoachSandoTraining.com, or you can go visit the website at CoachSandoTraining.com.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tony. And I can't wait to see you next week.
Likewise. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Keeping our horses happy and healthy is paramount to horse owners everywhere. Since our horses are often a reflection of the environment we create for them, the Stall and Stable Show covers ideas that help us create the best home we can. From innovations in barn design to business best practices and lifestyle segments. There's a new episode every 2 weeks at stallandstable.com, Horse Radio Network, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, tonight for our segment with Wendy Murdoch, we're always happy to have Wendy here. Wendy, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's always great to talk to you guys. It's always so much fun. And I look forward to it every month.
We do too. We look forward to it. You're such a great guest and you just make us smile. We always literally have to we have to stop talking and start recording. So, well,
I know we're having private conversation and it just flows right into our public conversation.
I know. So how is it going and what have you been up to?
It's going awesome. I just got back from, I call it the Aiken-Ocala-Aiken trip because Aiken's like 7 to 8 hours from my house. And then Ocala's another 7 to 8 hours. And then I went to Ocala and then I stopped back in Aiken top again, had a wicked thunderstorm come through. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Oh yeah. Woke me up in the middle of the night. And then I just got home. Yeah. So I've been gone for, I don't know, like 10 days or something.
Yeah. And I also got to see you. You also visited us.
Oh, that's right. That's been in this past month, hasn't it?
I know. I was trying to think. I was like,
Wendy's been in South Florida
when
too,
was she?
not just Ocala.
Yeah. I can't remember. We have the cutest picture, but I can't remember when we were on.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the date. But yeah, so I've been in Florida twice after not having been down there for 3 years with COVID, right?
Right.
And so I've been down twice. So we had a great time. It was really fun to see you. And I went to the Animal Rehab Institute and I demoed Surefoot pads for Arlen White, the owner, and for her group that she had in. And met Dr. Sybil Mole. Dr. Mole is from Italy, and she's got this piece of equipment that it can measure the muscle activation. And so what she's doing, she's looking at the amount of muscle activation based on the different density Surefoot pads. So really cool
That is
stuff.
cool.
Oh, okay.
That is really very high tech.
What is it? What is it measuring?
Muscle activation. Don't ask me a technical question. I don't know.
Okay. I was just wondering about the blood flow or
No, it's actually contractile, muscle contraction. So she's looking at to see, if you use the different density pads, what kind of muscle recruitment do you see based on the different density pads, right? Because it's a graded system, so it goes from hard, firm, medium, soft. And so obviously as you get more unstable, the theory would be that you would see more recruitment of muscles to stabilize because it's more unstable.
Correct.
Like in a person, same thing. You'd put them on, you always start with something harder because you don't want to over challenge the system when it's not used to it, right? When your muscles aren't fit. So fitness is the ability to do something for longer. That's really the definition of fitness. Like you can hold a plank for longer. You can trot for 10 minutes versus 2. It's the ability to maintain what you're doing for longer. And so, but the question is what muscles are being activated? And so that's what she's looking at is how much recruitment in the muscle is there with the different density pads. And I'm actually going to go to Italy on my way to Africa, which we have 1 slot left. If anybody wants to go with me to Kenya.
Oh my God, I want to.
1 spot left in September. So I'll stop in Italy. I'll be doing quite the tour, but I'm going to go to see her and we're going to play with that and I'll do a Surefoot demo. So I'm really excited about that.
That is really cool. Well, you have other big news this month.
There's so much So the whole rider course is coming along beautifully. We're on track. I think we're going to probably launch in May. But anybody who wants to know more about the whole rider course, all they have to do is type the URL, thewholerider.com, and they can get on the wait list. And then it's the early notification list. So basically, you're not committed to anything. You're just signing up. And then I'm just sending out emails and asking questions of people because I'm really curious what people are interested, what's holding them back in their riding? That's the question that I'm asking people, kind of, what's holding you back? And I've been watching, people have been great. They've been responding that have already signed up on the list. And I've been watching what's rolling in, and what's rolling in is exactly what I thought. That fear is one of the big things that holds us back, and pain or limited movement holds us back. And that's what this course is all about. Like, hallelujah. It's based on my Feldenkrais training. It's going to be very interactive. It is not self-study, because everybody's sick and tired of the self-study online courses. Believe me, I have them. I don't do them, right? But this is going to be where there'll be live Zoom meetings, and we'll have discussion, and I'll probably bring in guests and, really dive into this whole idea of how can we improve our function? And of course, the Feldenkrais method is the basis of everything I teach. So the meat of it is Feldenkrais lessons that I've recorded, and then we'll have like interaction and stuff. So I am so excited about this. I've been waking up at 4:30 every morning. I cannot tell you. It's like bing. Well, sometimes I wake up at 1:30 because my brain's already started, but I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I
don't know how you do it, Wendy.
I don't know either, but I was in Aiken, and where I was staying was lovely. I was on the farm, but there's no internet. So I get my car, I drive to Panera, and Panera's doors don't open till 7, but their internet's still on. So I would set up.
So you're setting up outside. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
And I get on my
That
computer.
is amazing.
But I'm so excited because, this is this way, by using the internet and everything, I can reach more people. And that's what I'm really wanting to do, is to reach more people and help them with their riding, which, I can do in a clinic, and I can do one-on-one, but there's so many people I can help by doing this online course. And like I said, it's like, I will be with them every step of the way. We're going to have interaction and discussion and talk about the lessons and what's going on with their horses, and, just make a real community out of it where we can share freely and safely. And, it's really important that you feel safe in a group. And that's one of my things when I'm teaching is safe, fun, and educational in that order. So you've got to feel safe. And so that's what I always bring to my teaching is, whether it's a horse or a person, if I put a Surefoot pad underneath their foot, or I just make sure they're stable in the saddle, because, we can't learn if we don't feel safe. Horses can't learn if they don't feel safe. So that's always my first thing. And of course, since I'm in charge, it'll be really fun. And
it will be fun.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about it. So it's thewholerider.com, and you get in on the early notification list. And then, I'm shooting out some emails and just kind of polling people and finding out, what is it that's holding you back in your riding? And, if our body can't move in the way it's designed because we've had an injury or because we sit at a desk and we don't know it. Like, I just was in Aiken giving Feldenkrais lessons, and, it's like one person, it was like, wow, what's going on with your feet? And it turns out she was always in shoes too small for her. So her feet were strong. She's really tall. You need your whole foot like a horse. You need your whole foot. Right. So we talked about that, and, and it really made a difference, because that's the bottom of our building is our feet. That's the bottom of the horse's building is his feet. Right. So Surefoot, Feldenkrais, it all fits.
I love it. I love it. Well,
yeah.
Wendy, how can our listeners find you online, get all the information? Say it one more time so we can get it on your list, because this sounds amazing. Like I said, I'm waking up at 4:30 every morning. I get them because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that they'll never see that I have to get set up. So, and I'm learning a lot, which is, I like to learn stuff. So to sign up, it's thewholerider.com. You just type it into your URL search box, and it'll pop up. And if it doesn't, just come find me. You can find me on Facebook. Wendy at wendymurdoch.com is my email. So if you have any trouble, just, either go to my website, Murdoch Method. I don't have it up there yet because I'm actually hosting it on a different platform. So I'm setting up an entire platform for this online course. It's not just going to be on my website. That's why it's the best thing is to go to thewholerider.com and sign up there to get on the early notification list. And we're going to have fun, and we're working on the manual for it. And I've already thought about how to have guest speakers, and I'm so excited about this. That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, Wendy, as always, thank you so much. We can't wait to hear how it goes and when it rolls out, et cetera. And thank you for all your energy and all you do for us and the sport as well. We love it.
Oh, thank you. I just always love talking to you guys. You're always so positive and upbeat, and it always puts a smile on my face.
Awesome. Thanks, Wendy. We can't wait for next month.
Okay, bye.
Well, tonight we have a real treat. We always love when Anna Buffini comes on the show, and she is newly qualified for the World Cup in a couple weeks with her Mare Divinia, or Miss Diva. We are so excited to have you, Anna. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I always love talking to you guys.
Well, whenever I get to have you, I get a little starstruck because you're so sweet and kind. And you were just here in Wellington, and we were talking about it right before we got on the air about it was the most exciting night for season. So let's just rewind. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about your wonderful mare, and we'll get going on how you're qualified for the World Cup. So exciting.
Yes. So this is my third season in the Grand Prix. And Divinia and I have been really blessed to have a quick connection from the beginning. I bought her off of a video during COVID, and we hit the ground running. We showed 30 days later, and then we went on to have this dream couple of years with a lot of bumps. Do not get me wrong. I think the reason for our success is because of our failures. So we learned a lot along the way. We went to Nation Cup teams. We made the World Cup last year. And then this year we didn't make the short list for the World Equestrian Games, or last year, yeah. And so I got to go home and just train with her all summer. And it was the longest time we've ever had to train together without having to show. I mean, we've literally showed for 2 years ever since I got her. And that, I think, was a huge turning point for us as a team, and also Günther just getting consistent training time with us. And I think that is a result of why we've had the most consistent season we've had. And for 2023, she's the third ranked horse in the country, and she's just blown us away again and again and again. And over the summer, we saw Top Gun, and I loved it so much. We were all sitting with tears in our eyes at the end of the movie. And I said, this has to be my freestyle. And then we went to see it 8 more times. And every time I was just kind of gathering pieces of the story. Huh?
You're so my people. I did too.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes. So many times. We just had to see it again. And then, I was just gathering what pieces of the story I wanted to tell, what parts of the song. And it's the most amazing people who've made the music too. It's Hans Zimmerman and Lady Gaga, and incredible composers. And so I just started making this freestyle, and it just started fitting her absolutely perfectly. And Collier Wimmer, who helped me put it together, added her magic to it. And it just came together so beautifully. And what's cool too, it's such a American theme, right? And in the back of my head, I was like, okay, the World Cup's in America. And if we have a chance of making it to Omaha, I have to do a Top Gun theme. I wanted to do an American theme to really just give them a show and, give back to the American fans who have been so supportive through my whole career, and to all of the people going to support at World Cup. And and also it was really special because a lot of my family's in the military. My grandpa was in the military for his whole career, in the Air Force actually. And so we already had an affinity towards the Air Force. And it was the last thing I got to show him was the making of our freestyle before he ended up passing away. So he just loved it. And I get to carry that with me, and I get to carry a little bit of our family legacy through my freestyle, as well as do an American freestyle. But of course, when you're making a freestyle, it's all a dream. It's all a hope, right? So I never would just think oh yeah, I'm going to the World Cup. I mean, it is a huge, huge, huge fight to get there. So we had this freestyle. And in Grand Prix freestyles, especially when they're new, it just feels like a hot mess the first couple times. There are so many cues and movements and different changes in the music and the material and everything. So our first show out last November in Thermal, California, we started off pretty solid. We got a 70 in the Grand Prix with a couple mistakes, and then a 77 in the freestyle, which for her was really good. For some bobbles in the freestyle, to start at one of our highest freestyle scores was awesome. And then the next show, same thing. She got a 72 in the Grand Prix, and then 77 again. and with, a bobble. So we were still making progress. I was figuring it out, piecing it together, how to ride the freestyle better. And then the next show came. The first day was solid. And then the second day was magic. I mean, we were on the music like never before. She didn't make one mistake. She was so with me. It's just one of those dreams or one of those rides you dream about your whole life. She was perfect. And then I also was able to pilot her well. And we got an 80, and we were 6/10 away from beating Stefan. So
it was so close. So close.
Yeah, it was
close.
So
but
close.
An 80s.
I know.
Amazing.
And
amazing.
It was crazy. And so if we had won that show, we wouldn't have had to go to Florida. But I was sitting in 4th place after that show. And it was Stefan Peters, Alice Tarjan, Sarah Lockman, and then Salvino. And unfortunately, Salvino had to drop out later on in the race because, in the end, we all wanted to see Salvino. He's basically like America's hero, I have so much respect for that horse and Adrian. She's one of my favorite riders in the history of dressage. Salvino is one of my favorite horses ever. So I would give anything to see them at World Cup. And we were just devastated to hear he couldn't make it. But also at the same time, like we were making our plan and making our World Cup schedule. So we had the last qualifier on the schedule, and we were like, okay, we're going to go fly out there, and just see what happens. And so we're out there, and then Salvino ended up dropping out. And so then I had to beat Sarah Lockman and Chris von Martels. And they both have 2 amazing horses, 10 times more expensive than Davinia, bigger movers, a lot of things they had that Diva and I were up against the wall and having to fight, really. And so we went out there, and we had one of our best Grand Prix ever, got a 72 in the Grand Prix, won the first day, her first time ever winning the Grand Prix, actually, either one of ours in Florida. And then the next night, we had a battle on our hands, and it was the most sold out freestyle night of the entire season. I think everybody and their mother was there to see this battle.
Everybody came. It was huge. It was a huge night. The parking.
Yeah, it's a huge night for dressage in general.
Yeah.
With the stakes being so high, I think that's a lot of stress. How did you handle that?
Yeah, I remember. I just made it basically like it was a back home show in my head. So my horses are in my backyard, and we call it the compound. I really am just at the compound all the time. I'm with my horses, or I'm in my house teaching. And I kind of treated it like that. I was either with Diva training, or I was in my hotel room, and I didn't really talk to people. I didn't go out to dinner once. I didn't do anything. I literally just pretended like it was a show at home. I didn't look at the crowd. I didn't look at anybody but my family and my trainer and the warm-up. I made it small. I made it normal in my head. And of course, you can't just ignore the big show season for everybody, apparently.
Yeah, it was big.
But at least the approach you take is your normal routine at home. And I tried to make that for Diva too. And Sarah went second. She laid down a huge score with a 77. And I knew we had our work cut out for us. So we were second to last. And she was definitely a little bit nervous with that environment because, she had just flown in. She's never done a night freestyle. She hadn't done one in a year. And every single one of these horses had been doing the night freestyles all season long. So that's just a whole nother point I was so extremely proud of her for, because new environment, new state, new everything. And against these horses who had been seasoned with this for 8 weeks. And she just came in, and she has such a huge heart. She went in there, and we just got to dance to our favorite music in the world in front of our favorite crowd in the world. And she nailed some parts, and then I had a few bobbles, but thankfully the parts she nailed were so good that the judges really rewarded us for all of the things we got right. And then the few bobbles we had, they didn't pull our score way down, which was huge, because in the past, our good moments wouldn't outweigh our tough moments. And now the quality of her good moments are so high for her that they outweigh her rough moments. And so to finish that last extended to that center line, to that huge Top Gun theme, I just remember like getting chills while I was riding it. I was like, this is why I do dressage.
I got chills. Yeah. That's why I watched dressage. It was so cool to watch, Anna. I'm just saying, it was awesome. Oh, I got chills. We were all pumped. It was great. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much. It was just amazing. It's just surreal. It's what you dream of, you know? It's like riding a freestyle for all the money in Wellington like that in a packed house to go to World Cup. And at the end, we saluted and the crowd was so loud. It was so sweet. And I remember I rewatched it on the screen and I was like, I think I was a little bit stressed because I looked quite mad after that. And I was like, people are like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm just like, I was so in the zone. I was so focused. I don't even think I realized where I was.
That is so cool.
That's amazing. So what is your plan, going forward? What are the logistics around going to Omaha?
Yeah, so we leave Sunday. The horses leave very early in the morning, like 6:30 on the flight. And then they have quite a long travel day, actually. They get in around 5 p.m. And they go straight to the venue. And they'll just do a lot of walking that day. And then we have arena familiarization on Monday. We have the jog Tuesday. We show the Grand Prix Wednesday, training day Thursday, and then Grand Prix freestyle on Friday. So yeah, that's our schedule.
Wow. So you got to go back to California and train at home. You didn't have to stay.
Yes.
In Wellington.
Yeah, no, I went back the day after the freestyle.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything. We didn't celebrate.
Yeah. That's okay. That makes total sense. You wanted to go home and get her settled. And I love that.
Yep.
I love it. So that's, we're recording Tuesday. So you'll actually leave pretty soon. What do you do kind of in the interim kind of to get ready at this point?
Really, we're just going back to our normal routine. I'm making everything as normal as possible for her so she can be as healthy and as ready to go. We just have a lot of training time. Gunter's coming over a lot to just keep an eye on her. She's not working very hard. We're just keeping her fit and fresh and tuned up. And then he also is coming over. We watch our rides on the TV and go over them and make so many strategies for whatever she maybe throws at us that hopefully we can pull from our growing toolbox to help maybe fix whatever she throws at us in there. But yeah, just really keeping her as healthy, as fit as possible, and keeping her happy, really, no matter what is going on with me, no matter how difficult things get or things get stressful. She doesn't know about it. She gets to live in her little snow globe world where it's perfect and she's happy.
I love it. Well, Anna, how can our listeners kind of follow you on your journey? You're really amazing at social media. So how can they follow you and kind of see what's going to happen behind the scenes?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Anna_Buffini. After the freestyle, I'll probably put out so many pictures and videos that you will basically have a reality television show of the World Cup. But,
love it.
That's great. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. During the World Cup or during my shows, I don't post, but I take a ton of pictures and videos. And then afterwards, I just spill it all over the internet. So
I love that. I think that's really good advice. Yeah, I think that's really good advice just for everybody. Like, you don't have to post during the show. You could wait till you're in the zone. You're busy. There's lots you have to do and stay focused. Exactly. And so I love that. So that's a great tip on its own, Anna. Well, thank you so much. And we can't wait to be following you. We're going to be following you like crazy. And can't wait to see the photos after the World Cup. So good luck from us here at the Horse Radio Network.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. We're going to go do the best we can for all of you guys.
Yes, you will. We know you will.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, for this week's Trainer Tip of the Week, we have Codi Harrison back on the line. And Codi is in the 5-star Grand Prix this week, and she is an international competitor now for sure. Codi, welcome back to the show.
Thanks.
Yes. So tell us your tip, because this is fantastic. I love it.
I would say that you have to remember to ride the horse that you have that day, not the one that you had yesterday or 2 weeks ago, and not necessarily the horse that you're looking to have in 2 weeks from now. You have to ride the horse that's under you that day and try and make it better for the next day, but not get caught in the past and not get frustrated that you don't feel it's good enough for the moment.
I really love this. I think this is so important, especially as people, maybe yesterday was a really bad ride, or maybe you had a really bad day yesterday and you came in the barn. And I think it is a real skill to say, okay, today's a new day. Or let's say 6 months ago, your horse took off with you, or I don't know, I'm just making something up, but really being able to sort of be in the moment. I think that's what horses really teach us. Don't you think?
Totally agree. And I think it goes the other way too. You could have the best ride ever yesterday, and then, today you get on, it doesn't feel as good, but you can't compare it to yesterday. Maybe look back and say, oh my gosh, but if I compare this to 6 months ago, this is my worst days now are so much better than my best days used to be, to really put things into perspective.
Yeah, I think that's what the horses teach us, is that you have to come out every day and just approach things anew, and just, feel like you are riding for the first time all the time, and try to build on things that didn't go so well the day before, but you can't set yourself up with really top expectations, because the horse doesn't understand expectations, or, like, oh, he was good yesterday and now we're going to be even better. They're just in the moment. And that's a beautiful thing that horses and animals, they just live in the moment. So you can't get on and do too many corrections, or just feel what you got and go from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's great. And as you have a long-term partnership with a horse, I think it's not always bad to look back and think, wow, I've had this horse for 6 years, and, now he's 10 or 11, and look what he can do, and look where I was. I don't think that's necessarily a bad exercise, but not all the time, right? I think from a daily basis with training, it is, what is he like today, or she like today, exactly. And how is she feeling? So I think that's really good, because I think not only just from a traumatic, like if you did have something traumatic happen, it's hard not to look back and remember that, but typically the horses don't, they move forward. And they're, like Philip said, they're present. So I think that's a really, really good concept to think about as you're training your horse. And because you've had your horse Bosco for 8 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a long time. And just think of how you as a human have changed in 8 years, as a rider, and how much he has developed. So I think it's a great tip. And Codi, we're so excited to cheer you on at the 5-star and see what you continue to do. And we're so thankful for your time tonight. And how can our listeners find you online to get more great tips?
You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is just Codi Harrison, Codi Harrison. And that's it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Codi.
You're welcome.
Well, as always, we love email and Facebook shout outs. Keep them coming. And we love the questions, and we will work on getting them answered for you. And as always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best place to find me is probably on Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a good show. That's Kentucky Performance Products and the Murdoch Method. If you'd like to support our show and the Horse Radio Network, you can do that through the auditor program found at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we will talk to you next week.